We're all imposters. Hell, even Call of Duty, one of the biggest video game franchises in the world today, is an imposter. But that didn't stop Call of Duty from shooting itself all the way up to 500 million copies sold today. Call of Duty succeeds not because it was not or never was an imposter. Call of Duty succeeds because it embraced being an imposter. You, me, and everyone else in this world started out knowing nothing about whatever thing it is that we view them as an expert in.
Compression Man has no clue about any of this.
When the team who made the first Call of Duty came together to make that Call of Duty, they didn't know anything about making a Call of Duty game because they'd never done so before. When a musician first sits down to write their first song, it's usually not going to be a #1 hit because they've never written a song before. I myself, my thing is writing. I am an author, and I can guarantee that the first book I wrote was an absolute pile of trash because I didn't know anything about it at the time. Step 1 of breaking free of imposter syndrome is both embracing the thing that you are doing and the imposter syndrome itself. Just last week, I was in the office, stopped by this person's office who I don't see very often, stopped by to say hi or whatever, and there was another person in their office who I'd never met before, and the person introduced me and they're like, "Hey, this is Izzy. Izzy, this is Lachlan. He's an author." Me, if I had been myself like 5 years ago, would immediately be in my own mind palace being like, "Oh crap, he just introduced me as an author and now I gotta try and impress this person and show them that I'm an author." But thankfully, I am 5 years into my journey now, and I have embraced my imposter syndrome, and I have embraced my hobby because, gosh darn it, I have 6 published novels on the market. I can and will call myself an author at this point of time. So of course I had that conversation and I was like, yeah, and I was totally into it. I was like, yeah, I've written 6 books. They're a whole variety of different fiction genres, and I gave her the whole spiel. Whereas if you're someone who allows imposter syndrome to bog you down, that conversation is going to look entirely different than the one I just had. Your conversation would be more along the lines of like, "Oh, well, you know, I write a couple of things, I dabble here and there, I'm not really an author." That's someone who allows themselves to be owned by their imposter syndrome. Embrace your hobbies and embrace the imposter syndrome, and when people are asking or inquiring or whenever you're giving the chance to do so, own it and embrace it. That is step 1 to not being ruled by imposter syndrome. Step 2 is very simple. Convince yourself of a very small, minuscule truth about whatever it is that you're doing. And so like this could, going back to the Call of Duty thing, I'm sure the Call of Duty team, when they first made the first Call of Duty game, they convinced themselves that it was a fun game to play. And for anybody who plays video games, that is a very low bar to set for a video game to be like, hey, you know what? This game is fun. But at the same time, that low bar is missed by so many different gaming companies out there today that it's still a solid thing to be proud of and to convince yourself of when you're doing your first adventure. For me personally, in my writing world, I was told pretty frequently in the beginning and still to this day that I'm very good at writing dialogue. And that was the thing that I convinced myself. And I was like, you know what? This entire 180-page book could be absolute trash, but the dialogue in this book is absolute fire because I know that I know how to write dialogue and I know that I am good at writing dialogue. So that is step 2 of breaking free of imposter syndrome, not letting imposter syndrome own you and define who you are as a creative or as a personality or whatever it is you're out there doing with your life. Convince yourself of one thing, no matter how minuscule, that you are and that you have in that space that you can be proud of. And then that's going to lead us right into step 3, because right into step 3 is going to be building from that foundation and continually building, continually getting better, one minuscule step at a time. And so step 1, very simply, we're going to embrace the thing. You're like, know what? I've written books. I'm an author now. And when people ask me about it, when people talk about it, I'm going to embrace that. And I'm going to be proud of that. And I'm going to show them how proud I am of the things that I have done. Step 2 is convincing yourself of a little tiny thing that you know you're good at. And no matter how deep and dark that imposter syndrome goes, I write good dialogue, darn it. Call of Duty makes good games that are fun to play, darn it. And if nothing else, you have that to fall back on. And then using those first 2 steps, you're going to go right into step 3, and you're going to start building on that foundation. Because, okay, I'm great at dialogue. I don't have to worry about dialogue anymore. The next book I write, I'm going to worry about character arcs and figuring out how to get my characters to leap off the page and to really feel like they've gone full circle in their journey after you finished reading the novel. Or from Call of Duty's perspective, they're like, you know what, this game's fun to play, but the online multiplayer is glitchy as all can be. Maybe in the second entry, we're gonna continue making games that are fun to play because that's what we're good at, but let's focus more effort on fixing the thing that didn't work on the last one, because we already know that we got this piece of the puzzle that's done and that's working and that's doing its thing. Because one of the biggest things that we don't understand is that when we're alone, we're a rookie. But when we have an audience, we become an imposter. Then the audience portion of this whole equation is what you really need to target. Because when you're alone, you understand. You're like, I just started this yesterday. I shouldn't be great at this. But when you have an audience, you're like, why am I talking on behalf of this thing that I'm still a rookie about? And instead of doing that, change your mindset to be like, I am a rookie, but I am in fact an author. I am in fact the thing that I say that I am, regardless of my skill level. And I have convinced myself that I am good at least by this one portion of this thing. So when you get in front of an audience and you feel like you're an imposter, you can be like, no, let's pump the brakes, let's back it up. I am an author and I'm good at dialogue. And so every question that this person asks me or anything that I have to say in front of this audience will be about dialogue, because that's the thing that I am great at. And so very simple concepts here, very quick video for you on how to break through imposter syndrome and not let it rule you. Going over the concepts one more time. Step 1, embrace the thing that you're doing. I'm an author. When people ask me about it, I embrace being an author. I'm not going to be that shell of myself and be like, oh, well, you know, I dabble with things. Like, no. When someone asks me about being an author, I'm like, yes, I'm an author. I've published 6 books and I'm darn good at writing dialogue. Step 2 is convincing yourself of that thing. It is vital that you convince yourself of this thing. You don't have to continually go back and be like, oh, well, am I good at this? Am I bad at this? Do I understand this? Do I understand that? No, you are good at that thing, and you believe that you are good at that thing. You know that you are good at that thing. For me, it was the dialogue in my books. It still is the dialogue in my books. And 6 books of good dialogue means that each book after that first book, so 5 more books after that, I can focus on something else. I can nail down storytelling. I can nail down character arcs. I can nail down setting a story, world building, what have you. I can focus on other things because I've convinced myself of the one thing that I know that I've always got. That is just building that mansion from there, building up that content strategy, building up the knowledge base. And that is very simply the way that you will break free from your imposter syndrome. Follow those 3 steps, lock in, embrace the thing that you do, keep doing the thing that you do, and I guarantee imposter syndrome will take care of itself. If you keep doing these steps and you keep understanding and it keeps working out, eventually one day you'll just wake up and you'll be like, oh, hey, I'm not an imposter anymore. And so again, just embrace these strategies, keep it going. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize you have not been bothered by imposter syndrome for a very long time. And trust me when I say that is an incredible and unbeatable feeling. I have more videos here on this channel about general productivity. I've got my books, they're all available on Amazon. I have my own animation here on YouTube as well. If you were to check any of that out, that would be absolutely delicious. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one.